All right, let's hope all the buttons are pressed. Well, hey there, folks. I'm Meteorologist Matt Barrentine. Hoping, you might have heard there a second ago, I'm hoping that all the right buttons are pressed. It's kind of complicated. Got a lot of things going on in front of me, but I wanted to give you the update on what we are looking at here with what is now Tropical Storm Alberto. It got the name this morning, and you may be able to tell why as we zoom in here and look at this system. It is certainly looking a lot healthier than it was earlier. So we're seeing a system that is now wrapping itself around a lot better and looking a lot more healthy than it was earlier. So sorry, I'm changing some stuff on my board here so I can make things work a little better. All right, so I'm going to get the pointer out and let's look here. So here we are looking at the center of circulation. You can see the little tropical storm symbol swirling about there. But you'll also notice a bunch of clouds now south of it and wrapping around. That is why now it is a tropical storm. Yesterday all the storms were basically north of the storm, all the weather, I guess you would say, and the center was kind of barren. Today things are starting to wrap back around, showing a stronger system. Texas is obviously dealing with a lot of rain here, but the rest of the weather is down into Mexico with this system. Winds of 40 miles an hour now with Alberto. So here's the path of Alberto. It says PTC number 1. I need to fix that, but it is Alberto. So that's moving into northeastern Mexico. That's where the center is moving in anyhow. They're going to continue to get a lot of rain in south and central Texas from this system. Now, that's not the only game in town as far as the tropics are concerned. We got a couple of other areas out there. You can see this one out in the Atlantic. I've been watching this one for a couple of days. I do not think this one will become a depression. Upper level winds are not favorable out here over the Atlantic, so I think that one's going to struggle. It'll bring some rain. I'll show you that in a minute. And then back here in the Bay of Campeche, in the same exact spot, you see this another yellow blob. That's not for Alberto. That's for the system that's going to be following behind Alberto. So basically in the same area popping up over the weekend. So we got another system that's going to be developing in the same exact spot and likely moving in about the same exact direction. And you'll see that here on the big map here with the Futurecast and what we're looking at with the system. I'm going to go full screen so you can see this better on over. All right, so we got the two systems that are up there now. We got the one, this is Alberto making landfall. This is 5 a.m. tomorrow morning making landfall in Mexico. And then we have the second system, and this one's just not wrapping around itself. We're looking at what we call an open tropical wave here. So since it's not really got a good spin to it, it's being hampered by upper level winds. I do not think that one's going to develop into a tropical depression. Now, it will bring rain. You see that here. You can see it approaching the Florida coastline. This is Thursday evening. Meanwhile, Alberto is now completely into Mexico, still raining for parts of Texas. Here's that second system, still an open wave at this point. If it has any chance to develop, it'll be right before it makes landfall over the Gulf Stream there, just offshore. It might try to develop, right about here, right before it makes landfall. That'd be its only real chance. I've got it stopped though now for 8 o'clock Friday. This is Friday evening. It's actually moving inland here at this point, this tropical wave, and you can see rain across the Big Bend region of Florida, around Tallahassee, South Georgia, and some of that may try to reach into our area, but it will fizzle out. So I don't anticipate a lot, but it's possible on Friday evening we could get a few showers out of that system. And that fades away, and then look what happens down in the Gulf. This is now Sunday at around lunchtime. And look, another system in that same spot. We're looking really broad right here. May not be a tropical storm, so we'll see if it can get up to that kind of strength. But it will be another rainmaker for South Texas. This is Monday morning, next Monday morning. And it looks like a landfall of some sort of tropical system. Whether or not it gets a name or not, still to be determined, but it may well. And you can see heavy rain once again for south and central Texas. Meanwhile, here we are, we're doing fine. We're not getting that system. We're not getting a tropical system. So 3 tropical systems we're keeping an eye on. None of them will have any direct impacts on us. And here's what we're looking at with rain. It's just pretty quiet out there. And actually, I want to get to this first because this is a big issue. The rip current risk will continue to stay high. And I don't see it coming off of high anytime soon. So if you're watching and you are visiting our area, you're a tourist, and please take the flag seriously. We're going to be flying double red flags on most of our beaches this week. We may eventually, over the weekend, go back down to single red flags. I don't know yet. They'll have to make that determination. But double red flags means the waters are closed. You can get ticketed for it. They don't typically ticket people unless you're being dumb. They give you a warning, tell you to get out of the water, and you listen to them. You go about your day. But I don't even want you going that far. You don't want to get in the water. There's a reason why they close the waters. If you're from North Alabama, from Atlanta, you're coming down visiting wherever, the Gulf of Mexico is not a lake. It is not a swimming pool. It is far more deadly, especially on days like these. And this is when those rip currents, they can catch even the best swimmers off guard. You don't want to fool with them, okay? Double red flags mean the water's closed. Even single red flags, I certainly don't let my kids get in the water on single red flags. And my kids are great swimmers. They've grown up in the water. They do not get in the water on single red flags. It's something they've known since they were little. We don't play with it. All right? It doesn't really matter how good your swimmers your kids are or you are. Still can be way too rough and you can get caught up, and it's just I mean, think about being on vacation and that happening. I mean, I couldn't imagine. So, no vacation is worth that. So make sure, stay out of the water, enjoy the beach, but just don't get in the water. Sorry, it's just the way it is sometimes. You can't help it, and conditions are going to be rough at times, and that's what we've got here this week. So please stay out of the water. All right, let's get the radar up. Actually, a few more showers around than I was anticipating, but they're all really, really light. So we got these little tiny popcorn showers. Essentially what's happening is we're kind of on the outer flow. It's just a flow. It's not like we're seeing direct impacts from this tropical system south of us, way south of us in the Gulf. But you can see how there's an overall flow across the Gulf of Mexico that goes like this. And we're just getting some little tiny popcorn showers because of the moisture, the moisture that exists, working its way around that flow. So we got a number of little showers out there this afternoon. None of these are big thunderstorms or anything like that, but they are all traveling basically from about east to west across our area. So quick light sprinkles, that's it. Not a big deal. Kind of stuff you may not even bother with, with an umbrella. I said just that light. In fact, the high resolution radar makes it kind of hard to pick them up, but there's some on Ragerville and Chatham, Sunflower. So you can see some of the other areas where we're looking at showers here down around Rosenton and Loxley. That's going to be moving over Loxley soon. So yep, some showers out there, but once again, none of it will be a big deal. The heavy stuff's well off to our west in Texas with the landfall of Tropical Storm Alberto, which will make landfall early tomorrow morning. Because of the rain, the little showers, and the cloud cover, our temperatures really aren't bad. Mid to upper 80s, of course, is pretty stinking humid out there, but not too bad. Tomorrow morning, I think we'll have less clouds around and less rain chances here tomorrow overall for your Thursday. Temperatures starting out in the morning in the mid to upper 70s, so it'll be hot and steamy right from the get-go. And it's going to be a pretty hot day. Should get up to right around 90 to 92 degrees in the afternoon, so it's going to be hot. Factor in the heat index, looking at around 100 on the heat index in the afternoon. Obviously going to be a toasty day. How about those wind gusts? They're still staying up there above 20 miles an hour, high enough to where we'll likely see, once again, we will see high rip current risk going on again tomorrow in the east. So when it comes to rip current risks in our area, just because of the way our coastline is oriented like this, basically, it's due east-west, easterly winds are actually the worst winds for rip currents. Because not only do you get a rip current, but you also get the strong, what we call it, near shore currents. where they're ripping also from east to west. So it creates multiple issues, especially when you have an easterly wind direction and you got a long fetch. In other words, there's strong easterly winds basically all across the northern Gulf. That is just the worst wind direction we have for rip currents. Northerly wind direction would be a lot better. Westerly wind direction would be better. Easterly wind directions are terrible for rip currents. All right, so here look at that, and this is the thing that makes me worry so much about the rip current issues, because the days are going to be hot and relatively nice. We're only looking at rain chances around 20% through the weekend. That means the best chances are just isolated. So it means the days are going to be pretty good for like just the sheer look of the day. I'll be like, oh, this is a great looking beach day. It's hot, it's sunny. It'd be great to head to the beach and cool off. Problem is the water is going to be super churned up. And the fact of the matter is, whenever we have a system in the Gulf of Mexico, it doesn't matter if it's, you know, all the way down the Bay of Campeche, hundreds of miles away from us. The Gulf, just because of the way it's shaped, its bathymetry, it's like a big bathtub. And if you shake up one corner of the Gulf, it shakes up the whole Gulf of Mexico. And that's what we're looking at. So just something to be aware of. It'll continue to be pretty nasty out there, dangerous surf. I expect that to hold through the weekend and probably into the first part of next week as well, because that second system, like I said, will be getting cranked up in the southwestern Gulf over the weekend. So we don't have a whole lot of time for the Gulf to settle down. It's going to get cranked back up again over the weekend with that second system getting those winds kicked back up. So we're just dealing with a lot out there. And it's just, I mean, it's unfortunate. Like I said, you know, we got folks visiting, folks that want to go to the beach. I would love to take my boys to the beach this weekend, but going to have to figure out something else. You know, it's just not going to be the case where it's safe to get in the water. That said, there are some areas you can go to the sound side and the back side of some of the islands where it is a little safer. You still need to take precautions and keep an eye on the currents. But where there's not active waves breaking, you can find some places to swim. I know there's some good beaches on the sound side of Pensacola Beach, also Dolphin Island, and a few other spots. I'm sure you might know of a few. And of course, you could always go tubing. We got the Styx River out there, the Blackwater River. You could go up to the Escatapa Hollow. There's some places to cool off where you're going to be safer. And that's what I would do this weekend, or just take the kids to a splash pad or a pool or something like that, obviously. Or, hey, bust out the old slip and slide. The kids have a grand old time with that. So there's other ways to cool off. We got to just stay out of the surf zone. Once again, here's that long-range forecast. We are cranking up the rain chances mid next week. It's going to be interesting to see if we can get some tropical moisture in. But it looks like we'll have some heavier rain showers, what the models are calling for, by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. You can see temperatures remaining pretty hot until those rain chances go up in the mid-90s. So it's toasty for sure. But hey, it's late June. We're not surprised. We'll be seeing our heat index values climbing above 100 degrees most afternoons, and some afternoons up to around 105. So get ready for the sticky heat. It's going to be out there over the next several days. So if you joined us here, I do appreciate it. Let me pop this up one more time for you if you're checking in for the latest on Tropical Storm Alberto. I know it's been a while, so I got the information up there. Winds of 40 miles per hour here with Tropical Storm Alberto. It's just a minimal tropical storm. It's a very broad, sloppy system, but it has come together better over the last 12 hours. That's why it went from that potential tropical cyclone to Tropical Storm Alberto. No direct impacts on this from us. We're just mainly getting, we're getting the indirect impact of the very rough surf and the high rip current conditions out there, the dangerous rip current conditions. Heavy rain for Texas and parts of Mexico with this system, and there's going to be a couple more systems following behind. We got one over there in the Atlantic that I do not believe will develop. You can see this one in the Atlantic. I do not believe that one will develop, but it will bring rain to northeast Florida, South Georgia, and South Carolina, and could even bring some showers to our area by late Friday. Just some showers, not a big deal. And then there's that other yellow lemon right back down the southwestern Gulf again. That's one that's going to form over the weekend and will follow the same exact path as Alberto is doing. It's going to be the same steering currents. It'll look almost exactly the same. We'll see if it gets a name or not. The next name is Beryl, I believe. Yeah, Beryl. So we got Alberta. We'll see if we'll have Beryl by the end of the weekend or maybe Monday of next week. And so we'll be keeping an eye on all this for you. Obviously, a lot going on in the tropics. Relatively quiet weather here. It's going to be hot and humid. The main thing to watch out for is the rip currents. Let's keep people out of the surf zone the next several days through the weekend, and things will stay pretty good. That is it for now. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 10 News.